Technology and communication. Internet. The Internet is a global network of billions of computers and other electronic devices. With the Internet, it's possible to access almost any information, communicate with anyone else in the world, and much more. You can do all of this on your computer. Today, the Internet is a public, cooperative, and self-sustaining facility, accessible to hundreds of millions of people worldwide. IT is used by many as the primary source of information consumption, and fueled the creation and growth of its own social ecosystem through social media and content sharing. Furthermore, e-commerce, or online shopping, has become one of the largest uses of the Internet. Internet Protocol, IP. The Internet Protocol, IP, is a protocol, or set of rules, for routing and addressing packets of data so that they can travel across networks and arrive at the correct destination. Data traversing the Internet is divided into smaller pieces, called packets. IP information is attached to each packet, and this information helps routers to send packets to the right place. Every device or domain that connects to the Internet is assigned an IP address, and as packets are directed to the IP address attached to them, data arrives where IT is needed. Once the packets arrive at their destination, they are handled differently depending on which transport protocol is used in combination with IP. The most common transport protocols are TCP and UDP. What is an IP address? An IP address is a unique identifier assigned to a device or domain that connects to the Internet. Each IP address is a series of characters, such as 192.168.1.1. Via DNS resolvers, which translate human readable domain names into IP addresses, users are able to access websites without memorizing this complex series of characters. Each IP packet will contain both the IP address of the device or domain sending the packet and the IP address of the intended recipient, much like how both the destination address and the return address are included on a piece of mail. Search engine. A search engine is a kind of website through which users can search the content available on the Internet. For this purpose, users enter the desired keywords into the search field. Then the search engine looks through its index for relevant web pages and displays them in the form of a list. The Internet is a huge source of information and resources, and to access the resource from the Internet there are some kinds of software. This software is known as a search engine. Some of the popular ones are Google, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo, Baidu, etc. There are three main components of the search engine. Crawler. Crawlers are software programs sometimes referred to the bots. IT regularly scans the websites automatically for URLs, keywords, and links to discover the new updates. The crawler can follow the links present on some other web page. Index. As we know, the crawler continuously scans the websites. IT develops an index of URLs, links, and keywords to make the search results more effective. Search algorithm. The search algorithm is the complete mechanism behind the whole searching process. IT is working by searching for the index and finding the most suitable web pages by matching keywords that are searched by the users. Web browser. The web browser is an example of application software that is developed to retrieve and view the information from web pages or HTML files present on the web servers. The first web browser was invented by Sir Tim Berners-Lee in 1990, and the very first graphical web browser was developed in 1993 and is named the Mosaic. After that, various web browsers were developed. Some of them are Navigator, which is developed by Netscape Communication, Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Opera, and Apple Safari. The main characteristics of a web browser are: IT consists of graphical user interface. IT contains the search box where the user can type the address or URL. Page style can be static or dynamic. IT depends upon the interactivity and the formatting. TCP/IP and HTTP protocols are used by web browsers. Difference between search engine and web browser. No. Parameters: search engine, web browser. 1 definition: a search engine is used to find the information in the World Wide Web and displays the results at one place by returning web pages available on Internet. Web browser uses the search engine to retrieve and view the information from web pages present on the web servers. 2 usage: search engine is intended to gather information regarding several URLs and to maintain it. Web browsers are intended to display the web page of the current URL available at the server. 3 installation: search engine need not to be installed on our system, i.e. comes as default. Many web browsers can be installed on our system. 4. Accessibility: the search engine is accessed through a web browser. Typically, all devices are supported. 5. Components: the search indexer, crawler, and database are the 3 essential components of a search engine. A web browser uses a graphical user interface to help users have an interactive online session on the Internet. 6. Database: a search engine contains its own database. No database is required in web browser. It contains only cache memory to store cookies as well as browsing history until we remove it from our system. 7. Dependency: a search engine is not required to open the browser. This means that the search engine is reliant on the browser. A browser is required to open a search engine. This means that the browser is not reliant on the search engine. 8. History: unless you actively clear this data or use a private browsing mode, browsers will retain your browsing history, cookies, and cache in memory. Typically, search engines acquire information on their users and their search queries. Some search engines, such as DuckDuckGo, do not gather user information. 9 advantages: the major advantages of using search engines are to get the consumer trust, trackable results, generates targeted traffic, sustainable clicks, and grow your small business. The major advantages of using web browser are open standards, security, sandbox, robust GUI, and simple networking. 10 disadvantages: the disadvantages of using search engines are difficult of competitive keywords, changing algorithms, and results are not guarantee. The disadvantages of using web browsers are slow down with a new version and no add-on support. 11 examples: example of famous search engines are Google, Yahoo, Bing, DuckDuckGo, Baidu, Internet Explorer. Some of the widely used web browsers are Mozilla, Firefox, Netscape Navigator, and Google Chrome. Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is a word processor developed by Microsoft. It was first released on October 25, 1983. What is MS Word? Used to make professional quality documents, letters, reports, etc., MS Word is a word processor developed by Microsoft. It has advanced features which allow you to format and edit your files and documents in the best possible way. Where to find MS Word on your personal computer? Follow these simple steps to open MS Word on your personal computer. Start all programs: MS Office, MS Word. What are the uses of MS Word? MS Word enables users to do write UPS, create documents, resumes, contracts, etc. This is one of the most commonly used programs under the Office suite. How to create an MS Word document? To create an MS Word doc, follow the steps mentioned above to open Microsoft Word. Then once the program is open, click on File, followed by New. This opens a new doc where something new can be created. Since IT is used by people of all age groups, in schools, in colleges, and for official purposes, having proper knowledge of Microsoft Word is a must. The preview of the MS Doc file once IT is opened is given below.
MS Word document.
Features of MS Word. Now let us read more about the features and components of an MS Word doc file in detail. The image given below shows the different elements and categories which are available in MS Word doc. Home. This has options like font color, font size, font style, alignment, bullets, line spacing, etc. All the basic elements which one may need to edit their document is available under the Home option. Insert. Tables, shapes, images, charts, graphs, header, footer, page number, etc. can all be entered in the document. They are included in the Insert category. Design. The template or the design in which you want your document to be created can be selected under the Design tab. Choosing an appropriate tab will enhance the appearance of your document. Page layout. Under the Page Layout tab comes options like margins, orientation, columns, lines, indentation, spacing, etc. References. This tab is the most useful for those who are creating a thesis or writing books or lengthy documents. Options like citation, footnote, table of contents, caption, bibliography, etc. can be found under this tab. Review. Spell check, grammar, thesaurus, word count, language, translation, comments, etc. can all be tracked under the Review tab. This acts as an advantage for those who get their documents reviewed on MS Word. Apart from all the above-mentioned features, the page can be set in different views and layouts, which can be added and optimized using the View tab on the Word document. Margins and scales are also available for the benefit of the users. When compared with MS PowerPoint, MS Word is more of reading while PPT is more of visual and graphical representation of data. Uses of MS Word. Given below are the different fields in which MS Word is used and simplifies the work of an individual. In education, IT is considered as one of the simplest tools which can be used by both teachers and students. Creating notes is easier using MS Word as they can be made more interactive by adding shapes and images. IT is also convenient to make assignments on MS Word and submitting them online. In workplace, submitting letters, bills, creating reports, letterheads, sample documents, can all easily be done using MS Word. Creating and updating resume, one of the best tools to create your resumes. and is easy to edit and make changes in it as per your experience. For authors, since separate options are available for bibliography, table of contents, etc., it is the best tool which can be used by authors for writing books and adjusting it as per the layout and alignment of your choice. Emails are a part of business, for both employed professionals and job seekers alike. Since most people are being inundated with emails every day, you want to do everything you can to ensure that the emails you send get read. From a respectful email greeting to a professional email format, writing well can make a big difference. So read on. For professional email etiquette tips that will increase the odds of your emails being read rather than trashed. 1. Specify your subject line. Title your email subject lines in such a way that the recipient immediately knows what the message is actually about. For instance, if you're emailing to inform a colleague about a specific meeting, you can title your email something like, Info about budget meeting. If you're sending an email to inform a coworker about an impromptu meeting, you might title the email something like, Meeting in the conference room at 2 p.m. today. All in all, you want your title to get to the point right away. 2. Use a professional email address. Proper email etiquette calls for sending emails from your business email address, rather than a personal email address. Using a personal email address for business purposes can be seen as unprofessional by some, especially if you're discussing confidential matters. Also, by keeping your business and personal email separate, you are ensuring that nothing urgent gets lost amid spam emails, marketing messages, and other personal communications. 3. Use professional email greetings. While it may be tempting to use informal salutations when emailing associates and friends at work, you should use the same professional greetings you typically would if writing business correspondence with pen and paper. So think hello, rather than hey, to set the correct tone for your conversation. Other examples of greetings you can use include good afternoon, good morning, how are you? Hope this email finds you well. Hi there. Hi name. Greetings. Dear name. 4. Mostly, avoid reply all. It's usually a good idea to forego the temptation to hit the reply all option when sending professional emails. Proper email etiquette aside, it can be quite annoying for people to be included in a group email if the content of the message has nothing to do with them. So be considerate and only hit reply all if the message would be of interest to all of the recipients. Another way to avoid spamming people with unwanted emails? Utilize the polite alternative of moving to BCC. This means that if someone were to reply all to a message with both CC'd and BCC'd parties, only the CC'd parties would receive the reply. By moving someone to BCC, you are keeping the conversation going without that person sparing them emails they don't need to read. Just make sure you inform them that you will be BCCing them beforehand. You don't want to kick someone off the email thread without being transparent. 5. Proofread/spell check. Sometimes people pay less attention to spelling and grammar when composing emails than when writing actual letters, which is the way business correspondence was traditionally done. But the truth is that proper spelling and grammar still counts, even in the virtual world. After writing your email, read it out loud to ensure that there are no spelling or grammatical errors, as they could overshadow your message. The reason for reading it out loud is that sometimes your ears will catch something that your eyes skim over. 6. Keep it short and sweet. When it comes to your business emails, the shorter and sweet the emails, the better. Keeping your emails concise and to the point means not only less time spent crafting your email, but also a timely response from the person you emailed. Trust us, no one wants to read a novel in their inbox. 7. Acknowledge emails. With business email etiquette, it's always a good idea to send a response, regardless of if the person emailing you requests one. You should not only acknowledge all emails, but also do so in a timely fashion. Aim for within 1 or 2 business days, but prioritize emails that require your attention for another party to move forward with an action. This sort of courtesy is not always extended, and you'll be surprised at how much your professionalism can set you apart. 8. Avoid all caps. Using all capital letters in written communication is like shouting in a face-to-face conversation, and no one likes to be yelled at. So it's usually not appropriate or proper email etiquette to employ all caps in order to convey your message. If you know what you want to say, let your words show how you feel and leave the caps lock button alone. One obvious exception would be if you are using acronyms or initialisms. Examples of common business acronyms and initialisms in professional emails: ASAP, as soon as possible; FYI, for your information; BTW, by the way; EOD, end of day; COB, close of business; attention, attention; N/A, not available; COD, cash on delivery; TBD, to be determined; KPI, key performance indicator; EOM, end of message; WFH, work from home; OOO, out of office; YDD, year to date. 9. Attach carefully. In the event that you need to send large attachments, you should first ask the intended recipient whether or not doing so is okay. Assuming you get the go ahead, you should use a program to compress or zip the attachments so that it takes up less space in the recipient's email inbox. It's also a good idea to let the recipient know when you plan to send the attachment. Another great alternative to email attachments is sending links to files that are hosted using cloud storage such as Google Drive or Dropbox. Not only will this take up a lot less space, but it will also allow you to host multiple files and stay organized. Instead of leafing through emails and finding the right attachments, you and your CO workers can have everything in one place. Plus, most cloud storage providers are free up to a certain GB, so you won't break the bank. 0. Double check the email address. When IT comes to business matters, the last thing you want is to send an email to the wrong person. That's why you should double check the recipient's info before hitting the send button. If you make a habit of verifying the receiver's info, you'll avoid making these mistakes. Some email providers, such as Gmail, also offer a feature called Undo Send. Upon hitting send the first time, an option will appear at the bottom of your browser window asking you if you want to undo this action before IT permanently sends. If you accidentally added the wrong person, this is a life changer. Instead of pinging them with an email not meant for their eyes, you get another chance to send it to the right person without causing any harm. 11. Include a signature. It's a good idea to have an email signature as a component of your corporate identity. It will make your emails come off looking more legitimate and professional. In fact, you can look at your email signature as the digital equivalent of your business card. That said, you want your email signature to be as properly formatted as your printed business card. So drop the multiple font types and go for standardization to present a nice, professional image. Even with an email signature, you should still close your message with a professional sign-off. Examples of professional email sign-offs include: Best regards. Looking forward to hearing from you. Regards. Sincerely yours. Thank you. Thanks again. With appreciation. With gratitude. Yours sincerely. The writing process consists of 5 steps: planning, drafting, revising, formatting, proofreading. The amount of time devoted to each step depends on the type of document to be generated, that is, its length, complexity and requirement. Planning. It is the first step in the writing process. Planning the message involves the following components: knowing the purpose of message, knowing the audience, determining the contents of message, gathering and collecting information, organization of the message. Begin the writing process by determining the purpose of the message, that is, whether the message is meant to give information to persuade, request, or instruct the reader. Try and determine the purpose as specifically as possible. Knowing the purpose of the message helps the writer in determining what his writing style would be. The next step of planning the writing is to analyze the audience, that is, to determine who will be reading the message, what is one's relationship with the audience and how is the audience expected to react to the message. The content, organization, and tone of the message depend upon these factors. The tone of the message, that is, the degree of formality of the message, is affected by the relative status of the reader and the writer. The content will be influenced by the knowledge of the audience, the interest of the audience and the demographic characteristics of the audience. The next step is to determine the content, that is, what goes into the message. Based on the purpose and the analysis of the audience, determine what should be the content of the message. Avoid including irrelevant information that wastes the time of the reader. At the same time, do not leave out information which may be vital to the communication. Scott Ober has suggested 2 techniques to determine what should go into the content of the message. Drafting. Once you have the information and a plan to organize the information, start writing. Compose the first version of the message. In the first draft, do not pay much attention to the style or format of the message. Concentrate more on the content part of the message. Just put your ideas in written form on the paper. Remember that it is not possible to have a perfect message in the first draft itself. Leave it for the next stage of the writing process. Revising. Once the draft is ready, revise the writing. You may need 2 or more revisions to get the writing in the shape you intend it to be. Revise the writing for content, style, and correctness. You can revise the writing based on the principles of effective writing. Make sure that you have included all the relevant information. The writing should have an impressive style and should be effective. At the same time, it should be Accurate, that is, free from grammatical and content-related errors. Formatting. The presentation of the written message in an impressive layout with an appealing appearance is essential. Some documents need to follow a standard format. Formatting helps the reader to find certain information in a particular position. It gives a neat and visually appealing look to the document. Proofreading. This is the final step in the writing step. This is the last opportunity the writer has to make any changes to the message before it passes on to the reader. Proof. Reading ensures the accuracy of the communication. The message must be proofread for content, typographical and format errors. The letters which make claims due to a faulty product or disservice from a company the sender had made a contract with, is called a claim letter. If a garments company outsources threads from a thread manufacturing company for sewing of its garments, and after the product was sent, it is seen that the parts cannot be sewn together by that thread and it wears off as soon as sewing is started, the garments company can make a claim against the thread company. Types of claim letter. Claim letters can be of the following types. 1. Claim letter for damaged goods. 2. Insurance claim letter. 3. Warranty claim letter. 4. Claim probated letter. 5. Claim objection letter. Components of a claim letter. A standard claim letter has the following elements or components in it. 1. Full information on the faulty product or dissatisfactory service. Explain clearly what went wrong. Detailed information makes sure the fault is worth checking. Also, it facilitates the checking procedure. 2. In case of a product, add details of its purchasing date, arrival date, quantity purchased, model number, size, color, the amount paid for it/them, etc. necessary to pinpoint the order. 3. Is it a defect or a mistake? You need to be sure whether it was a faulty product or a deviation in the terms and condition of the contract regarding the product. Had you ordered yellow thread and they sent you ochre? Or, is it a thread that tears easily, but is yellow like you asked? 4. Mention the amount of money you want to claim or if it is the proper products that you wish to get as a refund, as a result of the damage caused by the offender. Process of writing a claim letter. You might want to follow these steps if you want to write a decent claim letter. 1. Add your name of the organization, if any, and necessary contact details. Add the date. Next, address the letter to the departmental head, that ensures a quick and responsive behavior. Include his contact details too. 2. In the subject line mention the reference number of the order. 3. After a proper salutation, indicate that you are making a claim and the type of it. If it is an insurance claim, include the policy number. 4. In the next paragraph, include the details of the accident and the specific circumstances and occurrences that gave rise to the claim. 5. Indicate the amount you are claiming and the date within which you would require it. 6. You can attach documents to validate your claim. If such materials are not available, you can ask them if you will need to send them later. Note that they should be of context. 7. Asking for a quick help that you anticipate, end the letter. 8. Sign with your typed name. Adjustment letter. Adjustment letters are created to satisfy someone who has lodged a complaint against your company, and they are generated for various types of audiences: an unsatisfied client, unhappy employee, or a Discontented supplier. Most adjustment letters are written in response to a claim filed against the company, but some are generated as a result of an internal discovery netting information about a faulty product or negligent service. 1. Purpose. Your letter should do the following. A. Apologize. B. Offer some type of conciliation, partial or full reimbursement, depending upon your company's policy. C. Restore goodwill. 2. Tone and style. Because of the delicate nature of adjustment letters, the tone and style should maintain professionalism, project intimacy, and accept responsibility without blaming the client. A. You will write in first person, using I or we. I using first person singular provides a more intimate connection between the writer and the audience. 2. Using first person plural represents the entire company. B. Avoid passive voice. When you write something like a mistake was made, you fail to take responsibility. Instead, write, we mistakenly entered 1000 instead of 10,000. C. Avoid assigning blame, or using words such as faulty or defective. D. You will project the you viewpoint. Instead of writing, we must receive the sales receipt before we can offer you a refund, you should write, so that you can receive your refund as quickly as possible, please mail or fax your receipt. E. Avoid overusing the pronoun you. F. Be specific. Avoid using too many adjectives or adverbs. G. Avoid stringing too many clauses or phrases together if you have a sentence with many clauses or phrases. Consider bulleting. H. Avoid clichés, euphemisms, slang, or heavy jargon. I. Avoid stating the obvious. If you are writing to tell someone about an error, you do not have to say, we were examining your files and found an error. J. Avoid filler language. K. Avoid unnecessary prepositional phrases. 3. Format. The letter should follow the official business letter. Formatting. Refer to the Formatting a Business Letter resource. On the subject line, you should state the problem briefly and clearly. For content. In your adjustment letter, you should do the following. A. Acknowledge and describe the error. B. Accept responsibility and describe the plan for compensation. C. Give instructions for returning merchandise, correcting an error, and or receiving compensation. 5. Components. 3 paragraphs. A. Paragraph 1. I. After the salutation, introduce yourself and immediately follow with an apology or a regret statement. Your apology should include the reason for the letter. Always address your reader respectfully. 2. Describe the error using the pronoun we. Remember, the client has a relationship with the company, not the individuals in IT. 3. After you acknowledge the problem, do not repeat it. Avoid using words like faulty, error, negligence, etc. B. Paragraph 2. I specifically describe what must be done by the client and by the company. 2. Graciously offer a concession and an explanation, or, if there is not a policy for the concession, explain why. 3. Concisely describe a time frame for when your company's obligation for repair will end. This is especially true if your company could incur penalties or interests. See paragraph 3. I point out any steps that your company will take to prevent a reoccurrence. 2. End the letter with goodwill. The 5 Ss of goodwill messages. Whether you're writing thank you notes, congratulatory messages, or expressions of sympathy, follow the 5 S principles of effective goodwill messages. Specific, crafting the message around specific references to the situation that it addresses will steer such messages away from the impression that they were boilerplate template statements that you plagiarized. Sincere, a Goodwill message will come off as genuine if it's near to what you would say to the recipient in person. Avoid cliché Hallmark card expressions and excessive formality such as "it is with a heavy heart that I extend my heartfelt condolences to you in these sad times." Selfless, refer only to the person or people involved rather than yourself. The spotlight is on them, not you. Avoid telling stories about how you experienced something similar in an attempt to show how you relate. Short, full 3-part messages and 3-part paragraphs are unnecessary in thank you notes. Congratulatory messages, or expressions of sympathy, but appropriate in recommendations that require detail. Don't make the short length of the message deter you from setting aside time to draft it. Spontaneous, move quickly to write your message so that it follows closely on the news that prompted it. A message that's past its best before date will appear stale to the recipient and make you look like you can't manage your time effectively. Guffey et al., 2016, p. 144. Thank you notes. In the world of business, not all transactions involve money. People do favors for each other, and acknowledging those with thank you notes is essential for keeping relations positive. Such messages can be short and simple, as well as quick and easy to write, which means not sending them when someone does something nice to you appears ungrateful, rude, and inconsiderate. Someone who did you a favor might not bother to do so again if it goes unthanked. Congratulatory messages. Celebrating the successes of your professional peers shows class and tact. It's good karma that will come back around as long as you keep putting out positive energy. Again, the 5 Ss apply in congratulatory messages, especially selflessness. Such messages are all about the person you're congratulating. You could say, for instance, "I really admire how you handled yourself with such grace and poise under such trying circumstances in the field today." Recommendation messages and reference letters. Recommendation messages are vital to getting hired, nominated for awards, and membership into organizations. They offer trusted source testimonials about a candidate's worthiness for whatever they're applying to. Like the resume and cover letter they corroborate, their job is to persuade an employer or selection committee to accept the person in question. To be convincing, recommendation and reference letters must be the following. Specific, recommendation and reference letters must focus entirely on the candidate with details, such as examples of accomplishments, including dates or date ranges in months and years. A generic recommendation plagiarized from the internet is worse than useless because it makes the applicant look like they're unworthy of a properly targeted letter. True, exaggerations and outright lies will hurt the candidate when found out, e.g., in response to job interview questions and background checks. They will spoil the chances of any future applicants who use recommendations from the same untrustworthy source if the employer sees that source cross their desk again. Objective. An endorsement from a friend or family member will be seen as subjective to the point of lacking any credibility. Recommendations must therefore come from a business owner, employer, manager, or supervisor who can offer an unbiased assessment. A letter of thanks or thank you letter is a letter that is used when one person/party wishes to express appreciation to another. Personal thank you letters are sometimes handwritten in cases in which the addressee is a friend, acquaintance, or relative. Thank you letters are also sometimes referred to as letters of gratitude. These types of thank you letters are usually written as formal business letters. Thank you letter format. What to say in a thank you note. Here are 5 steps to help you when writing a memorable, professional thank you note. 1. Start with a salutation. Begin your message with a salutation like Dear Candace, or Hello, Candace. After the greeting, explain why you are writing and include an expression of gratitude. Example, Dear Candace, thank you so much for taking the time to visit our office yesterday afternoon. 2. Share your gratitude with specifics. Although you likely shared why you want to establish a relationship during your initial conversation, it's helpful to reiterate your enthusiasm. This shows the recipient you're serious about developing a working relationship and want to continue communication. Example, we are thrilled at the prospect of working more with you all on projects in the future, and we hope to learn more about process efficiency from you as we grow. 3. Include any details from conversations. Sharing details from your interactions with the thank you note recipient demonstrates active listening skills and conveys interest. It can also help a new contact remember you. This is helpful if the recipient talked with several people in a short period, such as if you're sending a thank you note to someone you met during a conference or trade show. Take a few moments to jot down some notes as soon as the conversation is over. This way, you won't forget any meaningful aspects of the discussion. Example, learning about how your team is working to resolve our scheduling issues was immensely helpful, as we plan on working with more clients in the new year. 4. Close with additional thoughts or info. If there are any key takeaways or next steps, include them in your closing statement. Remember, keeping it brief but impactful is the best way to ensure it is read completely. Example, we wish you safe travels as you head home and will follow up about our action items early next week. 5. End with a polite sign-off. Finally, end your thank you note with a sign-off, such as thanks again or sincerely, and a professional signature. Take a few minutes to review your thank you notes for any spelling, grammar or syntax mistakes. A message that's free from errors shows you're professional and detail-oriented. Sympathy is feeling bad for someone else because of something that has happened to them. We often talk about it and feel sympathetic when someone has died, or something bad has happened, saying give them my sympathy, or I really feel for them. A persuasive message is the central message that intrigues, informs, convinces, or calls to action. Persuasive messages are often discussed in terms of reason versus emotion. Every message has elements of ethos, or credibility, pathos, or passion, and enthusiasm, and logos, or logic, and reason. If your persuasive message focuses exclusively on reason with cold, hard facts and nothing but the facts, you may or may not appeal to your audience. Typical format of a persuasive message. Persuasion begins with motivation. If persuasion is a process in your audience's action, e.g., buying a product or service, is the goal, then motivating them to accept an argument or a series of positions leading to the decision that you want them to adopt helps achieve that goal. If your goal is to convince a pet owner to spay or neuter their pet, for instance, you would use a few convincing arguments, compelling them to accept that spaying or neutering is the right thing to do. Thank you. For more such information, please subscribe to our channel.